Okay, so here we are. Perfect. Welcome to another live. So I'm testing also the new webcam. I don't know why it's very good only if I make something smaller. If I make full screen, it's very bad. So for the moment, it's better. See me very small. Let's check everything is okay. Why you don't see anything else? Here you are. Okay, now you can see the screen also. I forgot to habilitate the monitor. So let's wait a little bit if somebody else is coming today. And yeah, we can start today because many times people, when I post something, they ask me information about generic information. Like, I just bought a 3D printer. How does it work? How can I print a file? But do I need to scale the file? How to open on the slicer? Which slicer I should use? Etc. etc. So today I want to make some beginner guide for the people that they just bought a 3D printer, or maybe are going to buy. Annoy me. They want to buy a 3D printer and they don't know how to start. What do they need? So today we start from the very basic knowledge. So maybe for many of you that already know how to 3D printer, it's something that you already know. Sometimes some refresh, some information maybe you don't know, you forgot, so it's still useful for you to watch. And for all the other people, I hope that this kind of video can explain and answer all your questions. So first off, what do you need for 3D print something? Of course, you need a 3D printer and the filament, and you need a file. So how and where you can get the file? There are many websites that can provide STL for free. Let me write here a few of them. Printables. There is Printables that they provide some nice project. The most famous is Thingiverse. And after there are some websites that you can find something for free and something that you need to pay, more related to cosplay or action figures. That can be Dio 3D, can be Cal's 3D, and CG Trader. These are CG Trader. The most common website for find some file. Something is free, something is paid. Usually the files that are free not always are good. They can have some problem. Maybe some new graphic that just try to make some project and they share for free and get some feedback. So you need to pay attention. Sometimes the file can be good, sometimes the file cannot be very good. So you can go to some pay file on the website, or you can join some Patreon that I always mention. That is this platform that you can subscribe, follow one artist, and every month you can get some file and you can print whatever you want. So first one, when you got the file, you need to check first if the file is working, is good. So for example, wait a moment, got everything here. Here I have some files that I'm printing now. For example, when you open a file, you can have these two situations. Number one, this program is calling 3D Builder. It's a free program that you can find on Windows directly. So you don't need to buy anything. It's a free program and it's quite good program for basic transformation. After you open a file, here you have import model and you have your model here. If everything is like this, it means that the file is good. You don't get any error. If when you import the file here, you see one more object are invalid defined. Click here to repair. What does it mean? It means that this object has some error, can be some mesh wrong, can be some file, some hole, some wall that is compenetrate. I don't know, and you cannot know from here. what you know that is a not good object, and if you print, probably you can have some failing. So first you need to repair. So it's very good to remember every time you want to print a file, first open with 3D Builder. There are other programs similar. There are Mesh Mixer, also Prusa Slicers can find some problem. Netfab, there are a website that they can fix for you, but this one is the most simple to use and very fast. So how to fix this file? Here is just writing, click here to repair. You wait a little bit. It depends how heavy is the file, how many polygons he has. If it's very small, you can take a few seconds like now. If it's something big, you can take even 1 hour. But you have to do, because if you printed something like this, you have problem. You probably get some failing. For example, this one I printed and I tested, I printed wrong to see what was the fail. He has some issue on the top, is not smooth. Is some island taller than the other one, so it doesn't make a smooth surface. After you repair the file, here when he finish, what you can just do is, let me move my camera here, okay. What you can just do is here, open the tab and save it. If you save, now your file is repaired. So if you close your 3D Builder and you open again, the file should be good, unless it has something very big problem. Now the file is good. Here you don't get any more error. So 3D Builder is the first program that you should download for free, and he helps for this one. It also has some good features here that you can use for, especially for for split, sorry. Here you see you can split the file if you need to cut because it's too big, it doesn't have the space enough to print. For any reason you can cut, you can move the cutting angulation, whatever you want, and you can cut your file and keep both or keep only one part. And it can be good for measure, for check how tall it is the file from here to here. 60 centimeter. You go in object, select measure, select the 2 points that you want to check, and you get the size. This one can be good if you need to scale something according to your head or some other information. So first one, always open with 3D Builder and fix the file. After that we fix the files, in this case this is our Jigglypuff, we need to slice. What does it mean need to slice? You need to use a program that, according to your preference, create a G-code, or see a file for send to the printer, and allow the printer to print these files. There are many slicers that you can use. Most of them, almost all of them, they are free, except Simplified 3D. Many people they don't use anymore. The most common is Ultimate Cura, this one. Now we arrive to the version 5.4, is an open source and is one of the most simple slicer. I used a lot the previous year, but in the last period I really had some bad problem with Cura. I don't like how it's printing. I have very bad problem, big problem with the supports. I don't like how to apply the supports. Now I will show to you. So I don't recommend this one for the people that already know how to use it. For the beginning, it's okay. But now many people are using or Prusa Slicer, that is a slicer made from Prusa. If you don't know, Prusa is who created the first MK printer, the bed slinger, one of the most famous printer in the world, the Prusa. And he make also his own slicer, and you can use for any printer, not only for the Prusa. This one is my flsun V400. Oh, now many people are using Orca Slicer. This is open source film slicer from the bamboo, for the bamboo slicer. Also, this one is very good. So After you decide which slicer, let's start with Cura. Let's check how to add your printer and how it's working, the general information. So when you begin here, you have this one, add a printer. This one, if you use one Ultimaker printer, so a printer from the Ultimaker brand, you click here. Otherwise, you select not Ultimaker. Here it said that you cannot find any IP internet printer, so you select not. And here you have all the major printer divided by company, the Ultimaker, the 101 Hero, the 3D Geometry, 3D Maker, Alpha Wise, the Anet, Anycubic, Artillery, and go on, go on. There are a lot. For example, this one is mine, that I'm flsun. You have the Q5, QQ, Q5, QQS, Super 8, and the V400. Let's check if you are maybe one of the most common and cheaper printer now, the Creality Ender 3. You select Creality here. You have all the Creality, there are a lot. You go to your model, for example, let's make Creality Ender 3 Max. Select Add. And here you have the settings. Here you don't need to touch anything because this one is the size of the bed. This is the size how tall. This is the printer of the plate that's rectangular or elliptic like the Delta. If it's Marlin or if you use Clipper or another firmware, here you don't need to touch anything. Just select Add, and here we have our beautiful printer. Now, after you print, you need to add the filament. What's meaning? The filament is the material that I'm using for printing. For example, I usually use the PLA of eSUN. So manage printer, here you have your materials. And here also you have a lot of materials. For example, eSUN, PLA, PLA gray, import, and you will have activated, and you will have your filament here, eSUN PLA gray. So let me move the camera now here. So now I have my Ender 3 and I have my PLA. What's changing this one? This one is going to change usually the temperature and the flow and the bed heating. So something that is changing according to the material that you are using. After you have your printer, first one you should make some tests. The old generation of printer, they need to be calibrated. And for this one, I recommend you to check online on YouTube. There are tons of tutorials how to calibrate the E-step, step per millimeter, temperature, extrusion, the retraction, the speed, everything. You need to calibrate your printer. So now I don't check this one because it will be so long and too much technical, and I really suggest to check online. Let's check that, pretend that you already have your printer set up. We need to import our file. For example, I want to print this mask. When you open the mask, it's like this one. Now, if you see first one, you have some red part. What does it mean? This red part is something that the printer finds that is not touching any place and is flying. It's meaning that he cannot print like this one. If you print like this one, as you see here in the preview, what happened? On the first layer, the printer is making just these two circles here, these 2 points. When he starts to move up, he starts to print this part, but this part, they are not touching anything. They are on the air, and is impossible because you always need to print on something else. The printer is printing like this one and grow up, but he needs to have something. When he's like this one, we need to add some supports. But before add the supports, we need to find what is the best orientation for the printer. Usually it's always better, it's always good to make something more vertical. So we need to make this mask go up. Here, if you go on prepare, you have some option: moving, scale, you can make larger or bigger, and this one we will check later how it can be, how to scale one file. That's back to 100%. This one is rotate, mirroring, and this one is something extra that for now is not necessary. All these options you can find in every slicer. Something similar, something a little bit different. On Prusa slicer, for example, here I have my mask. Now you can see the printer, this one is round because my printer is a delta, is a circle bed. That's why. Here you have the same options. See, moving, scaling, rotate. This option that Cura don't have is lie flat on one surface. You can select one part and say to put that part touching the bed. It's very good when you need to print something for have a better surface on the bed that we will see later. Cut, then Cura doesn't have. It's like 3D Builder here. Remember when we said that you can cut the file, split? You can do directly from the slicer here. You can cut, and also you can add some connection to make more easy for glue it together. This is something very good. Here the supports, and now we'll go to C, and here is the seam. So when we have our files, first one, let's check a file that is more easy to understand at the beginning. Let's begin with Jigglypuff, for example. You see now is on the back. This one is the file Jigglypuff. Like this one, it will start to print here, and slowly it will start to grow up. See, like a sphere, and after, look, this part blue is meaning that it's printing on the air. He needs some support, but printing like this one is not very good because here this surface will be very bad because it's too close to the bed and he needs too much support. What's the goal? The goal when you 3D printing is try to have a bigger surface that touching the bed, is meaning that it will be more solid and less chance to fall down, and to find a position that reduce as much as you can the support, because the support can left some defect on the printer a little bit. So this one is our file. Which one is the larger part that can make on the bed? Is this one, the fit here. So we can or rotate and put flat, or we can use this option, select one surface and put it flat. Like this one, the fit, they will have the bigger surface here, touching the bed, very large, so it will become very solid. It's more difficult to fall down. If we print like this one is easy, that with the speed of the printer, it can start to move, and if it's moving, it will fall down and you fail the print. So first, always try to find what is the best orientation. After we find the best orientation, we need to put the supports. The supports are this part that we need to add when the printer is printing something in the air, forgive as a support. So let's open our Jigglypuff also here. Let's use the same file. First, let's orient it better here. Oops, I chose the wrong angle here. Okay. Everything is red, is meaning that is printing with some problem. He needs a support. Here on Cura, on the basic settings, we have all this information. There are a lot, especially if you go to expert. Don't worry, you don't need all. You need just to know few of these rules, of these settings for print. All the other are for advanced, or even you will never use it. Quality, as he said the word, is how printing good the file. Normally, the classic resolution for the FDM with a classic 0.mm nozzle is 0.2. It means that any line, because he's printing a line that is grow up, it's 0.2 millimeter. Bigger is this one, larger is the line, less good is the quality. Smaller is this line, it means that every line is 1 millimeter. More detail we can have. So why don't put every time 0.1? Because smaller this number, more time he needs to print. For example, here, if we print at 0.1, that is ultra fine, you need 2 days, 9 hours, 47 minutes to print this one without the supports. If the same file we print at 0.2, that is the standard, the classic resolution from the FDM, hello, it becomes 1 day and 7 hours, or exactly half time. If this one we make 0.4, it becomes even less, but it will be very ugly to print on 20 hours. So normal, this one is always 0.2 classic. This other information is how large, how thin are the lines you don't need to touch. Walls are the perimeter. How many perimeters? More perimeters you create, more solid is the file, more tough. Less lines you make is more fragile. Usually a good standard is 2 or 3. 3 if you need something that you can touch, you can react better to the if it's full. Put 2. But even on that one, 2 lines, maybe you can see something from the infill that we will see better later. So I suggest 3. Ciao Manak, figurati, tranquillo, tanto tu sei un esperto ormai di stampa 3D. Other information here, we don't need to check. The only information here is this seams. Seams is what we say, the scar that the printer left, because every time he print one layer, he need to start in one point and finish. The place that start and finish, he can left some mark that you can see on the printer, on the print when you finish. You cannot remove. It's impossible because the printer need to start and finish one point. What you can do is hide as better as you can. Cura has this feature that is called smart hiding, that it will put all these start and close point in some position that you cannot see very well. It will become almost invisible. Top and bottom layer is how many layer make on the bottom and how many layer make on the top. Also here, more layer you put, more tough and more solid is the printer. Usually this one you don't need to touch, you can keep 4. If you check here, if you make better information, all this other information disappear. Infill. What is the infill? Infill is what is inside to keep it more solid. Usually the infill, the people they use always the gyroid. 10% is a good amount of infill. If you slide something and you go to see, okay, preview. Infill is this one, this pattern inside. This is gyroid. You see, make all this wave from one side to another one to help the printer to don't be empty inside, to be more solid. And also if you need to print something on the top, this one, the infill, help to print over this infill. If you put less infill, like 1%, it will be almost empty inside. Look. The opposite, if you put like 100% infill, inside it will be totally full. It will cost much more filament, almost 3 times. No, almost much more. Look, before it was, you see now, it's totally full because every line, every layer need to cover everything. From 2 days, it become 8 days. And it consumes 1.6 kilogram of PLA. So normally 10% is enough. Unless you don't need to do something mechanic, something super strong. So there you can make bigger. Mi vedi a scatti? Wow, yeah. There's some problem with the VPN. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I cannot even know if I can close and open again. No, it will crash. Yeah, here. Ma riesci almeno a seguire un minimo o è ingestibile, Michele? Anyway, here if you see with 10% it's become 1 day and 250 grams is almost 10 times less. No, 5 times less. 6 times less. Material, it's what you need to change, but according to the filament that you choose here, you already have a good preset. For example, the PLA Plus of the eSUN, 210 degrees for print the filament, and the bed 60 degree. The speed also you don't need to change because it's already according to your printer. Travel, this one you need to test, as I told you before. And according if you're Baldwin or direct drive, you have different value. But this one is always, remember what I said before, check your printer, search some tutorial, and go on like this one. Build addition. Okay, this one is something important. On the building addition, you have 4 options: skirt, brim, raft, and none. None, what does it mean? That when you print here, it doesn't print anything on the bed. It just print what do you need? In this case, the file. Skirt. When you print something, you make first one line around, one of 2 lines around, according to your settings. And this is good because with this line, you can check here. You make only here because it's the first part that it touch. It will check. You can check if the filament is extruding well, if the bed is calibrated correct. So it's a good help. Brim. It will print some line around the first layer, connect to the first layer to avoid the warping. Warping is the phenomenon, you see now there are much more lines that happen when the print is detached a little bit because maybe it's not leveled correctly or the ventilation is too strong at the beginning, so the PLA become colder and a little bit raised up. This one can help to prevent. Raft, he will print one. Ora è perfetto, meno male. He will print our base super tough that consumes some filament. You see how many layers, and this is help you to give a better addition to the print. In this case, the printer will be connected and glued to this big disc, and it's almost impossible that he fall down from the printer. The downside of this one that it will part that touch the print to the printer, it will be a little bit ruined. So it's not always good to print. It's better have a better surface print. Now, why here we have only in this part and not also here? Because this file, here you can see better, if you print, is not flat. This part, they are not on the same line. Who made the files probably made some mistake. And if you go to see the first layer, is only one part. Slowly growing, it starts to print also the other feet. What does it mean? It means that the feet are not touching the bed. They are suspended in the air. So if you print like this, you will fail because the feet are not touching when it will start to print. it doesn't find anything, fall down. So you need to put flat. How you can make this one is a simple trick. You just slice. Sì, ma Cura non lo usa più nessuno ormai. Go to check which layer you have the full fit. Here you can increase. Here when we have, okay, layer number 7, the fit, they're all touching the bed. You see, I have the full shape. You know that your fit is, your layer is 0.2. So we just count 0.2 times 7 is 1.4. So we can go to cut here. 1.4. And he will make a cutting exactly at the layer height 1.4. What is down we don't need, so object B we don't need, we just keep the object A, and now our print here is flat. We remove 7 layers that are not flat. If you slice, here you see, now you have a big surface flat that touching the bed, and it will become smooth and without any problem. And now here you can see better the difference from skirt and brim. If you make one skirt, he make one circle around all the object. If you make brim, 4 millimeters, you see how fast it is compared to Cura. He will make all the brim to avoid the warping. And if you make the raft, 2 layers of raft, you will lift up all the files, and it will print this pattern under to make better adhesion. But this one is really not necessary. It's necessary if the surface that touching the bed is very small and you need something extra to connect. Now, let's talk about the support, everything, the stuff that everyone hates and everyone has to know. On Cura, on our file, we have the generating support. There is nothing, not too much that we need to do for now. You can select 2 kinds of support. Normal and 3. If you select normal, is the basic one. Here you can just change the density, but we'll see later. What he will do with his time, because Cura is much slower. Anyway, this one, for the people that was asking last time, is the new PLA matte magenta of eSUN. It's the Jigglypuff that I printed, already posted some video on the eSUN channel. Is the matte PLA, the new color, and as all the matte, he hiding very well the lines. It looks very smooth surface. This one I printed with a bamboo, and is quite good. I really like it. It's a strange color. I still need to find, maybe with the for Machine Book, with a perfect color. Anyway, here, after we put our support, if you click on preview, now you should see all this stuff. This stuff is something that the printer make for help you to print something that is suspended in the air. For example, you see here, this part of the hair are in the air. You need some help. It will put all the supports. You see, as you can see, the support, something touch the miniature, the file here, something touch the bed, and he all stick to the print. These one are the old style support. It's working, yes. They consume a lot of material, 295 grams, and they take a lot of time. Now we have the 3 supports. Let me remove the raft because it's not necessary. That it do exactly what it say the name. He make like a tree, so he starts something bigger on the base and after grow up like the branches of the tree for each more part and consume less filament. Cura, it was the first slicer to use this kind of automatic support, if we don't consider image mixer or Prusa for the resin, that are very similar, and works very, very good. Not always consume less filament, because according to how many supports you need, but what's the good one of this one? That you can see the support doesn't touch the print, so it will not ruin the file. You see this dot? This is the seam that we saw before here in the top walls here. On the miniature like this one is difficult to hide because it's all curved, it doesn't have a good place for hiding. So this one is not too much you can do. So this one is our file with our support. On Prusa, that is work much better for my opinion. When you select support, you can or select automatic paint. What does it mean? That he will detect all the parts that they need the support. This dot here is if he thinks that he needs support. And when you slice, he will put much less and much better. Now, don't mind the speed. This printer, the FLSun V400, it's super fast. This one is the old generation printer that he print. If you see here, 50 millimeter per second. This printer usually print 300, so it's much faster. But we don't need it rough because now it confuses you. You see, only put some support here and here. But in case you want to change, you say, no, I want to put some support on the here, some support here, because I think it's better put it. What you can do is the manual support. Here you can select the angle. It's meaning under 30% it doesn't count. Higher this one is the incident of the angle. See, 70% of inclination he needs the support. Lower this part, less area needed the support. When you have your area, normally 30% is good angle for the support. You don't need higher because the printer can manage almost all the printer. You can select smart fill only on hover ranks. What does it mean? That if I select here, it doesn't do anything because here it doesn't need support. If I click on this area, it will automatically put the support in all the parts that are marked in advanced. If now slice, it will put more support also there. You see also here and here where I add. So why I say that it's better Prusa than Cura? Because Cura, you cannot say to put support only in some part. You can only say put the support and he put wherever he wants. If you want to remove some part, you need to use some plugin extra like support blocker and say this one I don't want the support. So you put a cube here and now it will make the support everywhere except here. So it's working the opposite. He put the supports everywhere he thinks he needs. And after is you one by one, you need to deselect the support and say here don't put the support here. So it takes much more time, and also as you can see it's much more slower Cura than Prusa slicer. Now if you see here should remove the support, you see it doesn't have any support remaining here. Prusa is work in the opposite. Prusa you show where you should need the support and you just click where is highlight and you have your support. So for this one is much better in my opinion. Is meaning that Cura printing bad is not good? No, Cura also print good. But if you need to manage the supports, it's more simple make with Prusa slicers. Also Prusa has this fantastic feature when you need to cut something that you can add some connectors, some pins. plane is out of the object. Where is the cut? Okay, in case you want to cut here, you can add some connector here. You can choose the kind of plug: prism, circle, triangle, hexagon. First stream I never tried. Circle, hexagon. You can select the dimension of the prism, how deep it will go. So after you print the file, you have this part that can help you to match the parts together. So when you cut, you will have these pins. Here you have the holes. So after you print, you can just connect one in the other one. And this is fantastic when you need to print some big part, cut, like miniatures, you need to stick the arms. Like this one, it will be much more easy to glue it together because you are not afraid that you don't glue it exactly in the same position. So this new feature on Prusa 2.6 is really, really fantastic. Now, after you have your file, put case that you have your file with the automatic support, okay, you need to print. How to print? Normally, after you slice the file, here you have export G-code. You export the file, is a G-code files on your computer. You take the SD card, you put the SD card inside the printer, and from them, USB, whatever you're using, you can start to print. Some printer, the new generation, they are also connecting online. For example, my printer is connecting online to my IP of my printer. So when I finish the file, I can upload directly on the printer. This means that I don't need to save on SD card, take the SD card or a pen driver, go to the printer. I can even don't go in the printing room. I just upload everything from here. This file is very big, 112 megabytes. I should choose something smaller for the test. Yeah, it's taking a lot. After he's upload the files completed, if your printer is connected online, you can go to your IP address. This is only local, so only from the same network it will work by default. Here I can control my printer, everything. I can move the axis, the extruder, the temperature. But here I have the G files, and here I have my jiggly path. Now this one is a bug of this firmware that doesn't show me exactly the picture sometimes. After a little bit it will appear. From here I can select print and it will print automatically without even go there. It's very good, you see. After a little bit it appears also the thumbnail, the pictures. Here I have the G-code viewer that I can see the file that I'm uploading. It takes so long. And I have the webcam. So this is when you have a printer remote online. The last slicer is Orca Slicer. Orca Slicer is like a version upgrade of Prusa. And it's work very similar. He has the same option. Instead of have on the left here, he has here on the top. The option are the same. If I import a file, Jigglypuff, you see, move, rotate, scale, lay down on the feet, cutting. I can cut even here. Painting support, seams. Even I can add a text here. I can say eSUN. I can put whatever I want, and I add a text, and it will print with a text eSUN. You can after manipulate a little bit, put horizontal. This is something funny, but not very important now. Here you have some options. Auto-oriented, that is not always working good. Auto arrange, if it's a little bit outside, it put on the better. Lock, so you cannot delete, do anything anymore. And this one for printing multi-synction. So from here, how to add a printer? It's very simple. When you go on printer, here we have the selection, Clipper or Marlin. Marlin is the generic printer, Clipper is the new one with the internet and some extra features. Here we have all the printer. So we select our Creality. This time we select the CRV2, my first printer. It's not exactly this model, it's a little bit more advanced. Confirm. And now I have my Creality, my printer here. Automatically here you have some preset PLA that's working good, and some profile from the printer. This profile I found it works very, very good. So you don't need to do almost anything. You can just import your file and already start to print. Here you have some calibration to help you to calibrate the temperature, the flow rate, and extra parts that always suggest to use some tutorial. Here is also can explain how is working the test for every flow, every testing. So it's good to read. And for the other part, here is the same as Prusa. Here you have the layer height. Here you have how many floor, top, and the infill. Remember we said to use the gyroid. He has our speed. We have the supports that can be normal, or the 3 supports like the Cura. And here the skirt, here we have the brim, we have the raft, everything is here. Maybe they change a little bit the position, you need to find a little bit, but everything is working always in the same. So here we want to put the support. We select on our overhangs, we always select 30 degrees like on Prusa. And we click where is highlight. Even if you click outside, it doesn't do anything. And after slice is here, is not more down. Just change something, but the menu is that one. Ok, ciao amici, grazie mille e intanto sta per finire. Un paio di minuti abbiamo finito qui oggi. Also, Orca is very, very fast. Not as fast as Prusa. Prusa is the fastest. You see, we have our beautiful 3 supports. After that, we can just select print. In this case, I need to export the G-code because I cannot print it directly, because this one is working only if your printer is connected to internet, like mine. If I select my printer here, I took my, where is my G clip? Who took my G clip? Yeah, I take my G clip off and the slides. Yeah, I have print because I can send directly to the printer. With the other Creality, doesn't have this option by default. I found Orca is a very good choice for learning and beginning because they have already a very, very good profiles and settings by default. Here you have some information. What you need to check here is how many hours, 16 hours, how much filament, 130 grams. And here I can send print and I can upload the print directly. Another nice features that I really love of Orca Slicer, that only Orca Slicer has, is the option has more bed. What does it mean? That if I click here, add a plate, I put a second bed, a third bed. So if I need to print, for example, one helmet, I can put, for example, a mask here. On the second bed, I put the back. So you can create your whole project and save in one single file instead of create many single files. So you print one helmet. In the future, you need to print again the same helmet. You open this project and you will have everything already together. And this one will be much easier. And another nice features is that you don't need to print everything with the same settings, because here generic you have the settings for all the project. But if you go to object, for every single plate you can change the layer height, how many top floor, the wall, the speed, supports, and everything. So you can make this one has 2 walls, this one has 5 walls, for example. And this is really good features. Now, how to orient it very fast. This one, and we finish. This one, we have 2 ways to orient it in the best way. One is up and down, not like this. Try to put this surface here. So we only have supports under the chin here and under the eye, and a little bit on the legs here. Because as before I said, our goal is to don't put any support on the visible area. So on the nose, we need to avoid, and hide as much as we can the support. So this one, if we print like this one, the only part that can be affected are the eyes, a little bit here, but they point to the inside. So when we slice, you will see. Might take a long because it's a lot of files, polygons inside here. Now, if you can see the preview, you see, it only put some support here that we will not see because there is the other part. Inside here, so from outside, it will be clean. And this one here that we don't care too much. Like this one, we have the best orientation. All the supports, they are only inside, not on the external surface, and the printer will become smooth. And it's always better put vertical, because when the printer is making the line like this one, the lines like this one, it will be much clean and invisible. If this file we put like this flat, also have a lot of support inside, but we have all the lines here, and when the surface is start to make more curved like this one here, you will start to see something that is not smooth anymore, like leather. This one, because he cannot make the round surface, he make lines over lines, he left the scar, and it will be super bad to see. He will have a lot of wasting time of post process, and it's very bad. Just show this one to you. Here you can see maybe on Jigglypuff, you see the end at the top, you cannot make the round part because make line. So you can see this ring that is like the tree. You can see all these are tree. This one will have all the surface here. You see here, you cannot make this part smooth. Also, this one you will make very bad because you cannot make the line the circle correct. So it's always better put vertical, like this one. Like if you put like this one, you will have not very good attention here, connection here. So you need to put a lot of supports under this part, and is meaning that all this part will have support and will be more ruined. So in this case, the best orientation is this one. This case is very simple. We have one big flat surface. So we just selected that one, and when you slice this one, you don't need any supports. So in this case, we have a flat surface is the best because it's just put on the bed like this one. Control always that the part you see, it doesn't start in the same point. is meaning that it's curved a little bit. This one you cannot cut because you change the shape of the helmet. So here you still need to put some supports, but it will be under and you will not see. So if you go to prepare, select our file, put our supports. Here we can select also normal support. Instead of make the tree, it will make all pillars under this one. When it's a long surface like this one, it's better make this kind of supports. Yeah, if I don't put the supports, I forgot to paint the supports. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Because this kind of support, it touch every part of the bed and the printer, so that all the part they will be in contact and they will be more clean. If you make manual this free support, look what happened. You waste less material for sure, but as you can see probably, now in this case it's still put almost everywhere, but there will be parts that are not connecting by the support. You see all these parts. In this case they are very small, it's not a big problem. But what happened here, that he make one line on the air, and because this space is very small, he can make it. It's calling bridging. If it's longer, he will not make it. So when it's something like this, I suggest to make the normal support. The last one is the most complicated part. According, probably this one doesn't even fits on the printer. This one we have two ways to make. One is like this, probably. I scale a little bit just for make more faster the calculation, otherwise we'll never finish because this one is bigger. And what happened here? Here we will have the supports all around this part, that are the part that you don't see too much. So it will be not a problem. So we select all this part, or you can make automatic painting, it doesn't matter. This part is very important because it's totally in the air. If you don't make the support here, it will fail automatically that part. This part is not necessary. Also here, the dome on this part on the helmet is not necessary make it, because the printer, they can make it. So don't worry. Now I don't make it, for example. If you print like this one, and select the correct bed, and select the correct bed, as I said, number 3. We will have a lot of supports under that part, but still they are all parts that are all connected each other with the other part of the helmet, so you will not see. Or anyway, is under the helmet and is not in the front on the top that everybody can see, and it will be ugly. So always avoid to put as much support as you can, but if you need to put it, try to put in position that doesn't affect the quality of the print. My throat, talk too much today. So you see, he put all the supports here for support these parts that are suspended in the air. He just put the support here, and here it will not happen nothing. Here you have, remember when they say that if you print flat this part on the helmet, on the top you will always have the tree on the top. It's normal. You need to sand and after make it smooth. So this one is how I printed my helmet. Otherwise, some people prefer to print in this way. Why like this? Because you don't use any supports on the part inside. You only use the part here, the support here. What is the benefit of this one? That like this, for sure, you will print faster because you use much less supports, because everything is always connected to something else. So this part you needed support like before isn't even this one because they are up and down. And what is the cons? That this part here that is touching all the supports, touching the bed, it will be very, very bad. It will be very, very ruined because it's circle, so you have this issue here, plus all the supports that left the marks. So why do people make like this one? Because you can print faster. See, this part is full of supports. And because usually this part, even in the other orientation, you still need to sand with sandpaper and make primer filler and make it smooth. They prefer to work more on post-process on this part and consume less filament. You see, like this one, 10 hours. Before I forgot, let me see if I can recover. Honestly, I prefer use a little bit more filament, but make less post-process as I can, because I really don't like the post-process. It takes a lot of time. So because already printing a lot, I prefer consume a little bit more PLA maybe, but don't wasting so much time to the post-process. Some other people prefer instead to make in the other way. So it's not a good way or bad way. There are different ways that you can choose. I prefer using more supports, hiding that you don't see it, but don't make too much post-process. Other people prefer to don't wasting too much filament and print faster in the other way and spend more time sanding. So that is as you want. So it's not a good way or it's not a bad way. See, this one is even faster this time. Because probably has this support print faster than the other one. So it's even better like this one for me. So this one, it was the presentation. What are the most common slicers that you can use, how to create a profile with your printer or with your filament. On Cura, you select manually. On Orca Slicer, you have everything already prepared and tuned very well. How to upload a file. Remember to check every time first with 3D Builder if the file is good or it needs to be repaired. And after that one, how to import, how to orient it in the best way possible, how to add support, what's the meaning of the most important settings here, options here, and after how to slice. So these are a lot of information. It's something that you need to learn. You can check many tutorials online. I was happy if more people was online so they can ask something, but unfortunately the time is not our friend here and I need to stop now. So anyway, if you have some question, you can write here in the comments. I will answer to you as I pay. And please subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, write what you would like to see. If you want to see more basic tutorial, more advanced tutorial, more post-process, painting, resin, whatever you want to know about this 3D printing, and I will arrange my next schedule according to what's your preference. So after that, I think we talk for more than 1 hour. So for today, we can close here. Thanks everyone for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.